we'll move on to Rose Frisco.
This is Rose Filsco. I appear as Sabrina Chaco, and I'm a 20-year credit union person, so I wanted to focus a little bit on some guidance from the NCUA. If you haven't done so already, please, we just wanted to call attention to the NCUA letter number 20-CU-02. It contains specific information about COVID-19 guidance. It was issued on March 16th. You can go to ncua.gov and pull that letter, and it's a great resource for credit unions. It has FAQs there all the way from the recommendations from the NCUA on how to help your member, which I'm sure all of the credit unions are doing right now. But it also stresses that your assistance should be prudent. On there, again, I said there are FAQs all the way from what kind of notice you need to give for a branch closure, all the way to Reg CC emergency condition holds and the temporary suspension of the Reg DD reserve requirement. The other bulletin that I wanted to call attention to is the ACH Operations Bulletin 2-2020, and that was issued on March 9th. So make sure that you you're able to meet all the NACHA requirements in regards to timelines. They suggest to do same-day returns to try and help that situation. And if you're not going to make your deadlines, to make sure that you notify that impacted financial institution. Next, I wanted to talk about a task force. I was around, show my age a little bit here, for the mortgage crisis back in 2007, 2008. And I think this is a great opportunity for everyone to make sure that they take those lessons learned from that situation and have your task force, review that, what went right, what went wrong. A lot of our plans at that time were to, of course, serve our member, but also to strategically handle the erosion to our capital. So, for those that were around at that time, include them in that conversation. Definitely risk and compliance should be a part of the task force dealing with the pandemic. Because as Frank said, even though, we all have our BCP plans and we have a pretty solid compliance and risk program, there are a lot of bad actors that are coming out of the woodwork. So fraud will also be in the rampage, up on the rise. One of the things that I really stress at this time is to educate your members. That's something that the task force should be talking about. There's going to be, a lot of our members look at us as their primary savings. A lot of members have everything with us, the mortgage, the credit cards, the savings, the checking, everything. So they may be looking to us, and it's going to be difficult because most of us are close to lobby traffic or by appointment only. Make sure that they know how to properly authenticate, because authenticating a member right in front of you is really easy. They show their ID, the ID looks legit. You look at the picture, you look at the person, that's them. It's a lot trickier, especially if you don't have an authentication system like LexisNexis to prompt you with questions to ask. So make sure if you're deploying people to your call center that don't normally work there, that they're properly educated on, trained on how to authenticate members, because I'm sure you're getting a flood of phone calls. And then also one of the things that I always recommend is to, because we, as credit unions, we want to be there for our members, and we need to draw a fine line between assisting them and advising them. Our branch managers, especially, and assistant branch managers, they develop relationships with our members, and they might overstep and start advising, and we need to make sure they understand that they are not tax or legal advisors, and kind of give them more of an idea about that fine line that they're walking. One of the things that my credit union did back in the mortgage crisis was we also had some of our frontline staff become certified financial counselors, because to help those that are impacted, go on their way to recovery. Because like I said, you want to make sure that the employees that are advising your members are qualified. Next, I want to talk about branch closures. Whenever, there are shelter in place or stay at home orders for the city, for the county, and for the state, you will want to follow whatever those are that are the most restrictive. In most cases, they're viewing financial services as essential. So I don't think I've seen any come out. So I've been following, here, of course, in North Carolina, but also in California, because that's where the bulk of my peers are in California. But I don't think I've seen any guidance come out stating that financial institutions are not essential. But one of the things also that you want to consider is the safety and the health of your employees. There's much more that goes into the decision of how you're going to operate. I'd recommend taking a look at your branch proximity. Perhaps all your branches do not need to be open. You could open part of it. Look at the layout. Is it laid out? Some branches have the glass, the robbery glass to, so that could be an option if you have one branch over the other to choose. And, definitely have signs out encouraging social distancing, wipes, open trash cans, things like that. And again, you can also just do it by appointment. Make sure that someone is wiping down, sanitizing the ATMs. Those are going to be heavily used. So make sure that, everyone is just practicing those safe sanitizing measures. One of the other things I wanted to talk about is working from home. That's something that I think that we want to do because we want to try and keep everyone safe, but we need to make sure that we're following very well thought out and established work from home protocols, not, hey, here's a laptop, connect through this VPN. It should be something that, the entire program should be approved by, the senior management, especially information technology, and of course, risk compliance, just to make sure that the proper encryption is in place, and also that everyone understands that you are still in a clean desk environment. Usually the home protocols that I see are, it should be in a room with the door closed, and everything treated as highly sensitive information. So again, in our rush to, we don't want to be reactionary. We want to make sure, of course, we want to continue serving our members, but that your work from home protocol has gone through the chain of command and has been approved and vetted properly by technology and risk and compliance. Online new account openings and other remote services. Again, there are probably a lot of credit unions out there that offer this already, but may not. They might just have the lending side open where you can apply for a loan but not open up accounts. So there might be a push to finish, some projects that are in the works, and in that rush, you might think that I'll forego the fraud modeling criteria. It's very important right now to make sure that your fraud criteria models are in place for everything that you do, and risk assessments are really important. Right now, we're going through all these process changes because we have to adapt to the environment. It's important to have your risk and compliance team do risk assessments and review at least, what are the changes, how it's going to impact what, bad actors might come out, and we can't be risk adverse, but we need to make sure that we properly mitigate those risks. Helping members, again, you don't have to have, expensive, software and things like that. All the information that you need is in your core. And so if you don't already have it, you want to, have those reports available to see those members that you can reach out to. Are there direct deposits have stopped? Are there checks returning? Are there payments being slow? Things like that, so that you can reach out to them, perhaps with skip-a payments,